The Arizona Diamondbacks were outplayed in every facet of the game tonight by the Milwaukee Brewers. We have more on their offense not showing up, what exactly the Brewers pitching did to keep them so quiet, and why we live in the NL West. All of this coming up in 30 seconds. Don't you go anywhere. Why does that song make me even more sad now that it's playing during a loss? Like, this might be worse than the lost music, Kevin. Welcome in to Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. We love them. They make us happy. This team, not so much. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as your mayor of PHNX. The man on the ones and twos tonight is one and only Kevin Thomas, a.k.a. Large Intimate, who still calls me medium-sized. It should be medium-sized Montilla, right? It should medium-sized.
It definitely should be, and it definitely will going forward.
Yeah, it will be that. Tanner says, "Why the victory chat music?" I don't know, Tanner. It definitely shouldn't have been that. It was as bad of a loss as you could imagine tonight by the Diamondbacks to the Brewers. Diamondbacks lose by a score of 7-0. They fall back down to 500, and of course, my co-host here, Lourdes Gurriel III, did very little to help them out tonight. This show, by the way, is presented by our friends at Bet365 and Game Time. Go download the Bet365 app today and use code PHNX365 when you sign up. And then go over to Game Time, get yourself some tickets, sign up using our code of PHNX, and you'll get $20 off your first order. Yes, Elise says the Dbacks deserved the lost music tonight. Everybody deserved the lost music tonight. The very same offense that just exploded for 9 runs 2 days ago disappeared today, scoring no runs. There's a lot of things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Eduardo Rodriguez's day. We're going to talk about Joe Mantiply's terrible 9th inning. However, none of that matters when your team scores 0 runs. Maybe the deficit, maybe the fact that you're behind causes the bats, as we've seen in the past, to press and to try too hard. But in reality, the Diamondbacks offense just didn't show up tonight. And they were kind of outclassed by a TBD situation that ended up being Jose Quintana, who honestly had himself an outstanding outing. At one point, I thought this man was going to have a complete game with a pitch count of like 88 with the way that he was cruising. Neither team throughout most of this game really did much, to be fair. Eduardo Rodriguez, he was fine tonight. To be honest, Eduardo Rodriguez gave up 2 earned runs and 3 runs total in his outing. He gave the Diamondbacks 6 1/3 innings pitched. And to be fair, all of that should have been enough to at least have this game be more competitive than it was. He cruised through his first 3 innings, allowing only 1 hit. Then in the 4th inning, he allowed a leadoff double to Rhys Hoskins, who was once again a goddamn thorn in his side and the Diamondback side all night long tonight. That double by Rhys Hoskins had an exit velo of 79.6 miles per hour. It was followed by another double. That one snuck just past Gino. Then a Sal Frelick faked a bunt, causing Josh Naylor to come in and be way out of position. He then hit his own double down the right baseline, or the first baseline in the right field. That one had an exit velo of 78.7 miles per hour. Yeah, both of those hits that gave the Brewers, honestly, enough runs at that point to win this ball game. Both of them had exit velos less than 80. They just both found holes and got through, and that was the difference here tonight. The Brewers were able to find holes. The Diamondbacks very much were not. Their offense was hitting balls at 107 miles per hour off the bat, right into a double play. And that's how tonight basically went for this team. Going back to Erod, in the 5th, he gave up a pair of singles to Turang and Churio to start, and then both advanced on a pass ball that seemed to catch Gabby I don't know how to put this properly. In his past balls, is that probably maybe is that?
But
Thank you. Torey did say after the game, he talked a little bit here about that injury to Gabby. This is what Torey had to say about Gabby's getting hit there.
Gabby's okay. He just took a ball in a very sensitive spot. Wasn't a cross up. It was a bunt, and there's a technique and a style to it. You got to give the hitter some credit. He dragged the bat right back in the catcher's eyes on the line of the ball, and that's what happened. He just got blinded for a second and missed the ball. So he's okay.
Yeah, sensitive area is definitely the way to put it. Unfortunately, Gabby just didn't have himself a very strong night. He hasn't been sharp. Gabby hasn't been sharp defensively. Moreno gave up 2 stolen bases tonight. He is now 1 for 11 catching runners stealing after allowing those 2 stolen bases tonight. And it puts him, in like 27th, 28th as far as catchers go in Major League Baseball. He's definitely down at the bottom of the pile as far as starters are concerned. And I don't really have much of an explanation as to why. It doesn't seem like he's getting a very good read on these runners. It doesn't feel like the Diamondbacks pitchers are doing a good job of holding them on base. Meanwhile, their guys keep getting backpicked at first base. And so a lot of these mistakes being made on the base path by the Diamondbacks in both directions, both defensively and when they're on the base path, have not helped this team in situations, especially on days like today where their offense just couldn't get going. But on the good side of things, Corbin Carroll did extend his on-base streak to 14 games with his single in the first inning. I do believe that the record for starting a season in franchise history was set by David Peralta, who had a 17-game hitting streak, and that's the longest to start the year as far as hitting streaks are concerned. O-Dog one time had a 33-game hitting streak, and of course, the one Gonzo had, 35, 36 games. So Corbin has a far way to go in regards to those on-base streaks, but he has been super hot, and Torey, after the game, did talk a little bit about Corbin and his hot streak.
Yeah, I think he's just in a really good spot, and emotionally has grown and gotten into this level of I am here to continue working, growing, and learning, and then go out and perform and execute. And it's a fun little run for us to watch.
Felt like the offense was going to get going there a little bit early. Maybe we were going to see it carry over from that 9-0 victory they had over the Orioles, but it did not. They couldn't get going in this one. They hit into inning-ending double plays in the first and the second. Then Jake finally, he got himself his second hit. He singled in his first at bat, but then he gets picked off, as I discussed earlier there at first. And it was just a frustrating night. It was a frustrating night to watch this team. They weren't having good at bats. They didn't have a good game plan here against the Brewers, and they just couldn't put together multiple hits or a sustainable rally of any kind, to be honest. And I talked to Randall Grichuk after the game a little bit. This is what Grich had to say in regards to Quintana's performance tonight.
He threw the ball well. He mixed his pitches. He didn't miss over the plate much at all. He knows what he's doing. He's been doing it a while. So, he nibbled and got us get out of the zone.
Again, there is like a growing frustration there a little bit, especially considering that the Diamondbacks did just have, that big day on Wednesday. And here we are one day later. I asked Grichuk because I'm curious. I brought this up. These off days and such tend to happen at such a bad time. And I was just curious in his opinion if they could be detrimental to your offense. And here's his answer.
Off days definitely throw you out of rhythm, I'd say. It's one of those things that kind of once you get in that grind of every day, you kind of get the body going. Kind of probably depends on who you ask, but could work either way.
Elise says they didn't string anything remotely close to good at bats together. Yeah, that's a great point. And even when they could get some base runners on, they just weren't doing much with base runners tonight. I think they ended up, we had in the graphic here, I think they were 0 for 1, but Geraldo Perdomo there in the 9th inning ended up stealing a couple of bases, getting around. So they were 0 for 2 tonight with runners in scoring position, but just not not a good night. Not a good night for this team. And unfortunately, they were not able to, like you said, they weren't able to string good at bats together. Eduardo Rodriguez was fine. Like, let's be honest. He gave up a couple of singles. The pass ball wasn't on him. That was on Gabby. And then a ground out and a sac fly in that same inning pushed both of those runners across home plate, and that pushes the score to 3-0, right? They weren't doing much against Erod. Their average exit velo tonight as a team against Rodriguez was 80.5 miles per hour. They weren't hitting the ball hard off of him. Again, they just found holes. And Rhys Hoskins, known hater, continues to have Eduardo's number. He was 1 for 2 with a double and a run scored. He walked against Erod, and he also had himself a pretty good defensive play there that, once again, prevented the Diamondbacks from getting anything going. But Rodriguez was, again, 6 1/3 innings pitched, 6 hits allowed, 3 runs, 2 of them earned. He walked 2 and struck out 3. So definitely the biggest drop-off here is the fact that his last outing, he had 12 Ks. He was only able to strike out 3 tonight. But I'm not super concerned with that. I think Erod still went out tonight and was very effective and, again, gave this team an opportunity to win. Erica Day is in this chat, Kevin. Do we ban her, or what do we do here?
I was literally just typing in the chat right now, Derek. I said, Erica's in the Dbacks chat? What do you owe the pleasure of this appearance?
Is she lost? I love to see Erica Day in here. Welcome in. I will say this, though, that, again, this probably is a product of the off day. Hopefully we'll see the Diamondbacks be able to get some things offensively together, but there was a lot of frustration. And Torey talked to you a little bit about his frustration after the game, especially after, again, just the frustration of seeing his team score 9 runs 2 days ago and then come out and just be listless against the Brewers.
Yeah, it is a little bit frustrating. And I think the guys are frustrated too. I can tell by the dugout, the sounds of the dugout. So we all share that frustration, and I want us to play perfect baseball games or strive for perfection. And sometimes it looks really, really good, and sometimes it doesn't get layered in the way you want it to. So we got to find a way to make it happen again. And yeah, it is a little bit frustrating because it's on the heels of us playing a really, really clean baseball game. So we'll find our way.
Yeah, I mean it's so weird because baseball is one of those games that this can suddenly happen. I know all sports you can have a bad day. All sports you can have your offense, kind of be unremarkable and not perform the way that they should. It's just wild the way that the Diamondbacks could go, obviously from one outing to the next and have just such inconsistency offensively. On the base path, they haven't been pushing the action much. They haven't been running. They haven't really been doing the things that creating the chaos that we have grown to love from this team. But Randall Grichuk talked about the frustration himself. This is what he had to say.
Yeah, most definitely. I think anytime you come out flat after a good outing and then also after an off day, it's kind of frustrating. I felt like we were prepared. The energy was going good pregame. And, you just got to tip your cap to him. He made some pitches tonight.
Elise says the offense just hates Erod clearly. Yeah, I'm starting to think that myself a little bit. I mean, his last outing, he didn't get much run support. He definitely wasn't perfect that day either, but on the day where you throw, you strike out 12, you hope to get a bit more from your offense. But he did talk about Quintana's performance afterwards and credited him for what he was able to do tonight. This is what Erod had to say.
I'm about to say my bad.
He's a veteran, he knows how to pitch. I feel like every time he's out there, I have a lot of games against him too. And like I said, he's a veteran, he knows how to pitch, and I feel like he got everything going today, So when you're that kind of pitcher like that, you know how to pitch, you're going to have a good results, and I think he got it today.
Yvonne B says, we'll find our way, ? He's the manager. Shouldn't he lead the team? Well, I mean, it's a bit of a cliche. Torey does use quite a bit of those, but also, yeah, I mean, again, there's just like there's not really much to, why they were so good to why they were so bad tonight. Who knows what we'll see tomorrow? And unfortunately, in baseball, they don't do a lot, especially when it comes to, going out and making adjustments, right? This is a game where they literally play a game almost every single day, constantly for 6 months straight. So they'll go out, they'll have team meetings, they'll talk about adjustments, they'll game plan differently for the Brewers tomorrow. There's things that they will do. However, part of it was the fact that the Brewers didn't have a starting pitcher listed up until like 3 p.m. today. I checked at 3 p.m. for the probables, and Eduardo Rodriguez was still listed against TBD. So that did limit the Diamondbacks' ability to potentially game plan for who they would see. But again, this is also potentially just a byproduct of them having a day off right when they were getting hot and losing that rhythm that they found themselves, in. So Elise says Quintana was a lefty they signed late in spring due to rotation injuries, and he came out and pitched like that and didn't give up a bunch of runs in 2 innings. I didn't think it worked like that. Yeah, it wouldn't have worked like that for us. You know that. That wouldn't have worked for us. But yeah, this game, honestly, not a lot of offense there for either team, really, until the 9th inning when Joe Mantiply came in. But prior to that, again, we have to give out our Sanderson Ford deep drive of the game. And as you may know, there really wasn't one of those. So I get to award it to Gino Suarez's 380-foot fly out in the 8th inning because that was the longest ball hit tonight. Yeah, well, that's how that goes. I don't know what to say other than that. That's an indictment of both teams, let's be honest. But the bigger indictment here is Joe Mantiply, who has been completely ineffective this season. And I'm going to preface this by saying that, and I probably maybe not the best idea, but I'm going to say it anyway. Joe Mantiply was devastated by this outing in the clubhouse afterwards. I rarely see any baseball player take a loss as hard as I feel like I saw Joe Mantiply take this loss tonight. There was a considerable amount of he just looked very, very much impacted by this, and I'll say this sucks because Joe Mantiply has been a part of this team for a while and at one point was a very valuable part of the bullpen. But looking at his numbers so far this season, he's just been ineffective. And he came into the 8th with 2 outs. He gets out of that inning, no problem. But then he comes back on in the 9th. And the sequence goes single, hit by pitch, 2-run single, ground out, RBI. Inning extends beyond that. He ends up going 1 1/3 innings pitched. He gives up 4 hits, 4 earned runs. He walked 1 and struck out 1. Again, the Diamondbacks offense didn't do anything, right? So it's not like, Mantiply blew the game or it was close and he let it get out of control. So then the Diamondbacks couldn't make a comeback in the 9th inning. The Diamondbacks weren't doing anything offensively. They didn't do anything offensively. And still they kind of rolled over there a bit in the 9th inning, even though they kind of pulled out all the stops, put in some, pinch hitters, tried to do some things. It just still didn't work. So realistically, it's not like this loss is on Joe Mantiply. It's not really on Eduardo Rodriguez either. Mostly this loss is on the offense for not producing anything. You can't really blame pitching at all when your offense doesn't do anything. However, I will admit that the deeper of a deficit you get into, the more likely you as a batter is just kind of checking out in this game, right? So I'm sure once the bottom of the 9th came around and the Diamondbacks found themselves down 7-0, there's not much hope in that dugout at that point. There's not much hope in those bats that are coming up to bat in the 9th inning. And that's, what ends up happening when your reliever comes in the top of the inning and gives up 4 earned runs. But his ERA right now is currently at 12.71 on the season. His max pitch tonight was a 90.2 mile per hour sinker. His average pitch velo was 83.1. He threw 1 fastball that was 88 miles an hour. It could travel in time, but it probably won't strike out too many batters. But the big question here, and maybe this was part of the regret, is or maybe part of being so upset over this outing is that this bullpen right now has some guys that have been pitching very well. And then you have the other guys that have been struggling. But the difference between the guys that are helping this team win, like Jalen Beeks and Shelby Miller and Justin Martinez, versus the likes of, again, Joe Mantiply, unfortunately. You could probably put Bryce Jarvis a little bit in that category. There's just guys that are in the pen that aren't performing the way that some of the arms that were added very close to the beginning of the season have been pitching. Shelby Miller, I believe, still has a 0.00 ERA. I think Jalen Beeks is down to a 0.96 ERA last time I checked. So these guys have been pitching, and there is going to be some tough decisions made when the Diamondbacks have Kevin Ginkel return and Graveman, right? And I don't know how those guys are going to factor in. I don't know exactly what decisions are going to be made, but if you're looking around in the bullpen and you're looking at the performances of other guys and you're looking at a Ryan Thompson, you're looking at a Jalen Beeks, and you're looking at a Shelby Miller, you got to realize that those guys are all doing well and you're not. So with the return of Ginkel on the horizon, there's a good chance that Mantiply might be the odd man out. And tonight's game might have really been the straw as far as, you know, his position with this team, right? I know people are calling for him to be DFA'd, but I think Mike Hazen, aka Elise, pointed out that he still has options left. That is true. So he could be sent down to Reno still. And that's something very much that the Diamondbacks will probably do if they don't keep him in the pen. Is they're not going to give up on Joe Mantiply necessarily. They're going to keep him around for depth, and honestly, not a terrible idea to send him down to Reno to work on some things, so that way maybe he can still give something to this team before the end of the year. But Torey didn't seem concerned. This is what Torey had to say about Joe Mantiply and his night.
Minimal. I've seen him perform at a long time. Seen him perform for a long time, and you know, I'm kind of kicking myself for not taking him out of the game, protecting him a little bit. But he had a lot of rest, and if anybody was going to give up Joe's runs, I want it to be Joe. And so he had some gas in the tank, and he just wasn't landing pitches. And I think he lost a little bit of focus after the infield hit. But that's part of the game. And how you rebound and how you come out tomorrow is going to be the most important thing. But not minimal concern for Joe. He's going to land pitches and get big outs for us.
And again, like when you I don't know. Everybody, when you look at the roster right now for the Arizona Diamondbacks, everybody in their bullpen has been performing fairly well. Jalen Beeks, Justin Martinez, Shelby Miller, Ryan Nelson, another arm that's been performing extremely well. Ryan Nelson's been performing so well that he's, you know, the talk is moving him back into the starting rotation or making him an opener of some kind. Ryan Thompson, another guy that's been pitching well. Honestly, the biggest surprise is probably AJ Puck, that has had some struggles this season, but AJ Puck is an elite left-hander, and you know that he's not going anywhere. So it really does feel like there's a good chance of all these guys that, you know, especially after tonight, Joe Mantiply finds himself on the outside looking in. So definitely a rough night for him, but I will defend him and say he wasn't really the big problem tonight. The big problem was really the Diamondbacks at bats and not really being able to produce any offense. If they were able to muster something up, 2 runs, 3 runs, different story a little bit, but yeah. And AZ Cats G says Ginkel on the Horizon sounds like a cool song title. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's a hit. That's a hit. Well, on the other side of this break, we have more to talk about from this game, even though I'm sure so many of you are already done with it. We will do that here in a little bit. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, we've been spreading the big news from our friends at Sanderson Ford, and that is the fact that Ford just announced from America, for America employee pricing. Now you pay what the employees pay on the full line on new Fords with no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense, and no added markups. And Sanderson Ford will be the first to tell you that you can get this deal at other Ford dealerships. However, they will add addendums, they will add markups, they will make that price increase, where Sanderson Ford guarantees you they won't. They will also have the best customer service that you can find. They are America's most awarded Ford dealership for customer satisfaction, and now is the time to buy a new Ford with From America, for America employee pricing. Right now, check them out. Of course, it excludes a 2025 Expedition, 2025 Super Duty, Raptors, Mustang, and Bronco specialty vehicles, but they will also be hanging out with us tomorrow for our PHNX Scramble, where you can come out and maybe win yourself a 2-year prepaid lease on a new F-150 Super Crew. So make sure to join us tomorrow for our golf event, and make sure get yourself in on that hole-in-one competition. If you get that hole-in-one, get yourself a 2-year prepaid lease on a new F-150 Super Crew. Also, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary over at Bet365. If you haven't had a chance to check out that wonderful app and have fun with the live in-game betting that always makes watching sports more fun, get down on it now. Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting, and they offer the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. By the way, tomorrow is another Slam Dunk Saturday. Basketball is about to be over, but it's another Bet365 Slam Dunk Saturday. Place qualifying parlay bets totaling $20 or more on tomorrow's NBA games and get up to $25 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions apply. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use that code of PHNX365, deposit $10, and place a bet of $5 or more to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or over and physically located here in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. All right, well, let's see here. One thing we did need to address, and Kevin pointed out to me before the show started, was the Diamondbacks have lost. So that means every single one of you have to go take a shower tonight. And I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about, what was it, Jim? Was it Jim? Jim? You better brush your teeth, Jim. Thank you for your super chat. He says Chase Field isn't stinky enough. That's why we lost. I mean, he's trying to create some sort of home field advantage here, and I don't hate it. I just think that there's a better way for us to go about it, a more hygienic way. I feel like with we're turning into when the Joker made hygiene products into Smilex, right? Like we can't be that. We can't live in that world. AZ Catch G says, why did it take so long to get Pavin in the game? Pitching matchup, mostly. I don't know. I don't know sometimes if I believe in this or not, but splits are a very big thing in baseball, and obviously left-handed pitching versus right-handed pitching that Torey's trying to play the matchups. The Diamondbacks are definitely at a disadvantage right now without Ketel Marte and his right-handed bat against left-handed pitching. So things aren't good, but I don't know. I mean, Pavin Smith is hitting like 400, so I'm kind of with you. Throw him in the game, no matter who's on the mound. Patrick Wayne Collects says we should have traded Jake last year when he was hot. Good point. I mean, honestly, though, last year it didn't really feel like Jake was the guy that you were going to trade. Alek Thomas was really struggling, so it's easy to say that. But did fans really want to see Alek Thomas and his sub-200 batting average in there over Jake? Not at the time. I mean, in retrospect, in hindsight, everything's 2020, right? But at the same time, too, you know, again, the Diamondbacks needed Jake. They needed his bat. They needed the way he was playing. He was playing much better. You're right, though. It's hard, especially when you have two outfielders like this that are both young, both very talented, sought after. It's just a matter of like a stock, right? You got to sell it when it's high, you know, and unfortunately, you really don't know with the inconsistency of these guys when that's going to happen. It does feel like Jake's turning a corner here. You know, this is two game hitting streak now versus him starting the season 0-for. So it's at least trending in the right direction. However, I will say that, you know, the on base stuff, that's to me personally as a fan, as someone watching, is it more confusing and more frustrating than even the at bats. I don't know what's going on with that. I feel like maybe much like Torey managing a little scared with his lineup, trying to make sure guys don't get injured, and it still happens anyway to Ketel. It feels like these guys are scared on the base path. And tonight you just kind of saw them having some hesitation, and that led to Jake kind of being caught out there for sure. But Nicholas Gruder says, why won't Corbin steal? Nicholas Gruder says, where did the chaos go? No steals, no bunts, bad defense. Then he asks again, why won't Corbin steal anymore? And then he says multiple times the last games, Corbin is on first with nobody out, doesn't even attempt to steal. You're not wrong. I don't have an answer for you. I wish I did. I just don't. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating for you guys to watch because you know that the chaos factor, right? The applying pressure to the opposing team to have to keep guys on base and do all of this stuff was a big reason why the Diamondbacks had the success that they did in 2023. And quite frankly, you're not seeing them apply that pressure. You're not seeing the confidence in them. It goes to Gabby too, right? We were watching Gabby gun guys down, And now Gabby can't seem to stop a base runner from stealing second. It's a frustrating time, and we're just not seeing this team be the team that we needed them to be, or that we've grown to love. Steven Banana says, "Ask Torey for us, Derek." Look, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because he's been asked. It's not the first time he's addressed it. I don't think that they're not aware of it, but I don't know. Again, maybe some of it is the changes here to this team. Maybe some of it is just, I don't know. Maybe these guys are getting older. Maybe they lost the step. I need Dre Jameson to go out there and challenge guys to a foot race so that way they can bring the speed back. But
Derek, do you think that any of the carryover from the way last year ended could be playing into the changes that we're seeing on the field?
What do you mean?
In their mentality? Like for lack of a better word, the way last season ended for the locker room felt kind of traumatic. Like it felt like something that they would never forget.
Yeah.
It felt like something that would inform the way that they move going forward. Do you feel like any of that tentativeness that we're seeing on the base paths and things like that is kind of them maybe being tight of not wanting to make mistakes that could cost them at the end of the year?
That could be it. Yeah, maybe they're applying too much pressure to themselves. It's one thing because the one thing you can say they didn't have in 2023 was pressure. They didn't have anything to live up to. They didn't have any expectations for this team, and they were just doing the thing.
House money.
They were playing with house money. They were playing baseball fun. They were playing loose, and it showed with the way that they were doing things on the field, right? And so, like right now, again, there's too much pressure. You can't have Gino going up there and trying to hit 3 home runs and 1 at bat. Lourdes Gurriel right now, frankly, has not. Things are a problem when you're saying that Lourdes is better defensively than he is offensively. That the things have gone down a dark path when that's the case. But
LG3, cover your ears.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my friend. I don't want to talk bad about him in front of the little guy. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers tonight presented by our friends at Desert Financials. Diamondbacks lose this one 7-0. Blah. Get out hit 10-4. Runners in scoring position. Diamondbacks were 0 for 3. Brewers 3 for 11. Extra base hits 0 for the Diamondbacks. 2 for the Brewers, and this is the most frustrating goddamn stat of them all, is the expected batting average. At one point, Kevin, in this game, the expected batting average for the Brewers was 176 to the Diamondbacks, like 476. It was like a 300-point difference, and the Brewers still had a 3-run lead at the time. Just goes to show when you hit a ball 107 miles off the bat, it should find its way somewhere. And when you hit it 79 miles per hour, it should. But baseball's funny that way, isn't it? Ha, ha, ha. It's so funny. Anyway, I don't know. We really, much like the deep drive of the game, I don't really have somebody that really deserves King Snake tonight. I will say that Eduardo Rodriguez did a fine job, but I'm not giving it to him because I can't. So I'm just going to give it to Corbin Carroll again for his 14-game on-base streak. 3 games away now from tying a record once again set by David Peralta, and Corbin's just been awesome for this team. He really has. That new batting stance is definitely working. You see it right there in that picture. My God, it's so different. But I will say that, again, this entire team kind of went quiet tonight, including Corbin. He didn't have his best night either, but he does extend that on-base streak, and he is our King Snake. So I think that what really sucks about this, and I know a lot of Diamondbacks fans that have been a Diamondbacks fans for a while will say it's because it's the Brewers, right? We hate the Brewers. I don't know how the Brewers have really ruined our lives so much, have caused us so much pain and sorrow in the past, but it's the Brewers, and I hate them. So anyway, what we're going to talk about, though, is Torey bringing up the Brewers a little bit and maybe just talking about how they just are a really well-managed team over there that play the game the right way. They've also given Torey some nightmares. We're going to talk about all that on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondbacks show. Well, I could throw some shade, but I don't have that kind of energy tonight. And that's why I need All Pro Shade Concepts sometimes, so that they can bring the shade while I can just relax in my outdoor living area. Can extend your outdoor living space with a custom fit awning. They have hundreds of designs and colors to choose from that match any home and also will be HOA compliant. They have roll down patio shades that block the sun and keep your patio up to 20 degrees cooler, and hundreds of colors and durable fabric to withstand the terrible Arizona sun. They can replace most old or outdated patio shades or fix them and your motorized awnings. And they're the most trusted local shade company, voted #1 by Ranking Arizona for patio shades in 2024. So give them a call right now over at 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com right now to schedule your free estimate. And look, finances can be messy, and nothing exposes them more than having to pay a whole lot of money over at a baseball game on one night. But let me tell you, sometimes you need to get your finances straight, and Monarch Money can help you do exactly that. Don't just manage your money. You got to start building towards wealth. That's what we should all start trying to do. And it's not easy, but we'll help you do that with 50% off your first year for our listeners. I know I've been overspending on a lot of things, especially when it comes to fast food. My God, the amount of money I spend on fast food. And one thing that Monarch Money does is it'll show you exactly how much you are spending on certain categories. You can start managing your finances to build the life you actually want and make managing your money simple. You can see all of your track all of your spending. You can track all of your streaming accounts. You can do all of that through Monarch Money. Credit cards, accounts, investments, all in one place. You'll know where your money stands without the hassle. Again, get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use our code of PHNX at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code PHNX. All right, well, Bees is here, so it's a good night. As long as we got Bees and Candace in the chat, things are going well. Good to see you, buddy. Bees says going to need a truckload of Lysol to take the stink off that game. Oof. And yeah, if Jim has his way, we're going to need that Lysol to take the stink out of section 128. But we did have an update tonight on Ketel Marte from Torey Lovullo. Again, Torey said prior to the game that Ketel is expected to be back before the end of the month. So that's very good news because that, again, the several weeks?
A series of weeks.
A series of weeks. Several weeks makes more sense. That's a series of weeks.
Is it a limited? Is it a limited series? Is it like a? Is it like a series of a fall season of a show?
Oh God. Well, they did say that they're following the timeline. They didn't really say that Ketel was like ahead of schedule. They basically said that things are healing like they should, and that Ketel feels good. But I mean, a big part of the reasons why their offense is struggling in games like this is missing Ketel's bat, missing his leadership, but missing a right-handed bat, especially against a left-handed pitcher like they had tonight. This is what Torey had to say in regards to the team's approach to left-handed pitching, causing them some problems.
Yeah, a little bit. That's just what Jeff Bannister and I were talking about in my office. And yeah, a little bit. I think, especially against lefties, we're minus Ketel. We know that. It's a big right-handed bat, but we have very capable guys behind him and around him that are able to pick up the slack a little bit. So, I don't like pull side approaches. I like really quiet approaches that have an all-field approach, and that's what we preach. It just looks like guys are coming off the ball, especially against left-handed pitchers. We got to be better.
Well, I mean, again, there's some roster issues, and what's funny is that how many times have we discussed the Diamondbacks being deep, having depth this offseason? And I mean, the depth was everywhere, yet a couple of injuries to bullpen arms and a couple of injuries to the team, and next thing you know, the Diamondbacks are starting Garrett Hampson every day, and they're out here needing to kind of find some bodies to fill some roles. And that's kind of what happens over the course of a 162 game season. But again, Corbin Carroll can't do it on his own. He very much cannot, though he is trying. By the way, for those of you that might not know, Corbin Carroll is currently tied with, and of course you guessed it, Spencer Schwellenbach for the highest WAR in Major League Baseball right now, currently at 1.2. Right? Exactly as you drew it up. Those two guys up at the top. Aaron Judge down, tied for third somewhere, whatever. But, again, Corbin is trying his best to do it, but he's not. He can't do it alone. Nobody can do it alone. We need Ketel back, and that's good news that he will be back hopefully before the end of the month, or as Torey said, shortly after that. But Torey also talked about playing the Brewers, like I said earlier. He very much credited Pat Murphy over there. We all love Pat Murphy here. And, he said they're a very well-managed team, well-coached, they're athletic. But most importantly, Torey said something that he says about his own team, which is they go out and they play the game the right way, which is a credit to their manager. Here, we have audio here of what Torey had to say before the game about this Brewers team.
A very well-managed team, well-coached, and they're athletic. They're constantly, pressing the envelope with aggressive style of play, and I can appreciate that. I think we're very similar. We're smallish market teams where we are challenged in different ways, but they go out and play the game the right way, and that's credit to their manager, who's an excellent manager. And it's always a huge challenge. I look back on that 8-0 lead. I think about that all the time. The last week of the season, and it was a credit to them. They were in the dance, and they kept fighting, and that spoke volumes about what they're capable of doing. So they're very, very potent. They're very smart, and we got to be at our best.
There's a lot of credit being given there. Torey, once again, being very nice at the podium. But one thing that I take away from there is Torey basically saying he still hasn't stopped thinking about the Brewers. And have any of us, really? I mean, you think about that comeback last year. You think about just the way that team prevented the Diamondbacks from achieving their ultimate goal of making the playoffs in consecutive years. And it's hard. It's hard not to still probably have some bad thoughts about that team, and about how, the Diamondbacks kind of squandered away an opportunity there to maybe have another exciting run in the playoffs. And again, I don't know what the answer is sometimes. I don't know if you want to dwell on this stuff or if you want to move on. I think, I think about Grichuk's answer there about the day off. It depends on what kind of person you are, right? If this motivates you and makes you a better person, makes you stronger, makes you fight harder, then the adversity is a benefit, and it's something you should think about often. I don't know if Torey Lovullo necessarily is the kind of guy that needs to dwell on stuff based on his personality and based on who he is, right? So I don't really think he tries to. We always joke about the flushing days, flush it all. Flush it, whether it's good, flush it if it's bad. It doesn't matter, just flush it, move on, because we got another game to play in about 12 hours, so you got to get out there on the field, right? But I don't think that dwelling on the past is necessarily the best, the best option for at least Torey Lovullo. Maybe some of the players, maybe some of the players, it's very, very good, but I don't know. Torey doesn't strike me as that. But it does remind me once again that even if you want to talk about flushing things, even if you want to talk about moving on, you don't always. You carry some of this with you, just like we all do in life. Like I still carry an altercation I had at a gas station with me with a complete stranger almost every single day. Why? I don't know. It was just a really weird, awful moment of arguing with a person who I didn't know in downtown Arizona. But I will say that, again, this is a team right now that can't really play with those expectations hanging over their head. They've proven that they don't do well on that. So I think one of the things Torey needs to do is find out a way to bring the fun back to this team. If there's anything Torey Lovullo does really well as a manager, it's connecting this team, making these guys feel connected to each other and bringing out the best of them as a team that works for their teammates, goes out there and wants to pick up their teammates, wants to hand the bat off and trust their teammates, wants to do all the things that we've seen this team do. But, I mean, again, even right now, you can take a look at some of the Diamondbacks free agents that left this year, like Jock Peterson, Christian Walker. Christian Walker had a nasty collision tonight that over at first base where I hope he's okay, but I'm concerned based on his past injuries that he might not be. But Jock Peterson, Christian Walker, neither of those guys are really producing at the level that they did with this team last year. So, again, you might want to sometimes credit Torey Lovullo for the bad things, and that's totally fine, but he should also get credit for sometimes being able to bring the best out of these guys. And honestly, maybe he did exactly that with Christian Walker and Jock Peterson. But changes are hard in baseball. Changes are difficult. And I think the Diamondbacks are still experiencing growing pains from the changes they made, both with their coaching staff and the changes that they made over their first base and at some of the interior positions. The defense tonight wasn't great, but the defense continues to get better for this team. They continue to perform better. And again, they showed up big in the fourth tonight to limit the damage in that inning to just one run. But they still have some room for improvement. So I don't know, man. I'll tell you right now that this team is still much better than they're playing. They are still much better than being a 500 ball club. So we'll see what happens when, Ketel comes back, and hopefully the Diamondbacks can find a way to get back. They generated 9 runs without Ketel. So there is still something in there for these guys to bring out. And I mean, again, Gino, his struggles, Lourdes, his struggles, both of those guys, if they can get right, then, I think this team will be in a much better place. Remember when Gino was hitting a home run like every day, sometimes two? Yeah, those were the good days early on. But
you were on pace to dye your beard teal.
So I know. Like, I'm not even worried about that now. I forget that that's even a bet I made because there's no worry. There's no concern in my heart that Gino's going to sniff 50 home runs. He's not even going to get to 40. I'll lower it.
To what?
40.
To what?
I'll lower it to 40. You're not
Chat,
50.
Chat, remember this.
I'm lowering it to 40. Whatever I have to do to motivate them. I motivated them in April 2023, right? We can do this again. We'll figure out a way to get the people at Apple TV calling me the mayor of Phoenix again. That has to happen. But anyway, we do have a fun cards draft party, by the way. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not ready to give up on the Diamondbacks, but a lot of hope in the Arizona Cardinals. Found out today I'm going to be seeing one Calais Campbell. I'm excited for that. I love Calais, so great to have him back in the Valley. I'm excited to hang out with him, but you guys can hang out with us. More importantly, the Cardinals crew, Bo, Johnny, and one and only Damon Dog over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, a Wild Horse Pass in the Upper Deck Bar and Grill for an unforgettable NFL draft party and live show presented by our friends at Circle K, these guys right here, and Gila River. Of course, your ticket includes entrance to the Upper Deck Bar and Grill and access to the PHNX Cardinals live show. All-you-can-eat dinner buffet from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., drink tickets for the 21 and over crowd, raffle tickets for great giveaways, and all PHNX diehards, of course, receive 20% off. If you're not a diehard, I probably shouldn't be telling you this but it's late. No one from the network is watching. If you're not a diehard, stay tuned. We're going to have something fun for you. Hopefully we can get you guys to jump on board here very soon. But one thing I'm not on board with is this goddamn division that the Diamondbacks play in, Kevin, and we're going to talk about that here. I'm calling it the NL West because that's what it should be called. But before we do that, I think we got some super chats. Our guy Brandon Chips, thank you so much, Brandon. Brandon says, love this show, and I appreciate y'all. Look, I'm just going to say it. We're still not out of the woods mentally for your pal Derek Montilla. I am still going through a rough time on the adjustments with this show based on a lot of things, obviously. I don't even need to go into it. You guys are here every day. You know me. But what I will say is that I appreciate it. I mean, I really do. And I thank you guys for being here. I have so much fun with this chat. And honestly, this chat is the best chat in all of PHNX.
The stinkiest, the grimiest.
The stinkiest, the grimiest, the horniest at times. Maybe.
Sheesh.
That's what people are saying. But Stephen Banana says, this is for the chat. Best damn chat in baseball. Damn right. Damn right. That's why BC shows up all the time. He doesn't even care about this team. It's not just to dog us for the Dodgers having a better record and winning the title. Well, a lot of it is that, actually, but whatever. Definitely. Speaking of BC, who maybe we've kicked him out since then, I am sick of this division. Are you guys not? Is everybody else not sick of this crap? The division is just the worst. And by worst, I mean best. And it makes me sick. The Diamondbacks right now sit in 4th place at 7-7. They are all alone there, 4 games back from the top of the division. The San Diego Padres are now 11-3. They are 7-3 in their last 10. The Giants are 10-3. They are 8-2 in their last 10. And the lowly Dodgers sit in third place at 11-4. They are 6-4 in their last 10 games. Tonight, we had the Giants beating the Yankees by a score of 9-1 in just 6 innings, because that game got rained out mercifully and came to an end because the Giants were pummeling the Yankees. The Dodgers beat the Cubs 3-0, and the Padres beat the Rockies 8-0. I hate it here. I hate it here so much, and I can't even explain enough why I hate it here. But anyway, Tanner says it is the end of the world. Yes, you're right. I tried to tell people to calm down. I was like, wait, let's wait until May. No, let's panic now. Why? Why should we wait to panic? It's Friday night. Do you have something better to do? I mean it. Like, it's kind of wild when you look at this division and how good these teams are, how good they're playing. The Giants being the biggest surprise there. And hell, I'm even surprised by the Padres. The Padres deserve credit. They're a good team. They're not much different than they were, but they lost some key components. And as I brought up time and time again, they have this internal fight going on over ownership of that franchise that really should have been a distraction, but instead, once again, like I predicted, seems to have galvanized that team. So I don't know what to do, really, but the Diamondbacks have to figure it out. They're going to be in a long fight, a dog fight all season long. And again, this is all the Dodgers' fault. The Dodgers are so good that the teams in the division really have no choice but to do one of two things: wave the white flag before the season even starts, kind of like the Rockies do, or try to go all in. And honestly, the Diamondbacks did a good job of adding to this team and making this team a competitive team in this division, right? Yet here we sit in fourth place, 4 games back at 7-7. So I don't know, but we do have our probable graphic. We got that. Let's take a look at the rest of the games in this series. Former member of the Arizona Diamondbacks, Chad Patrick, going in game 2 against Corbin Burnes. As somebody mentioned in the chat earlier, Corbin Burnes is making his home debut for the Arizona Diamondbacks in this game, and it is also a Eugenio Suarez bobblehead night. And I'll tell you this much: if those two factors combined can't lead this team to a win, then maybe I am ready to wrap it up. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Tanner asks, are the Rockies even profitable? Brother, are they? Let me tell you, their average attendance is one of the highest in the league. I'll repeat that again. Their average attendance is one of the highest in the league.
The Colorado Rockies?
Yes.
Like the Colorado Rockies in Colorado?
Like the Colorado Rockies that play in the state of Colorado.
Like with the mountains?
Yeah. Do you know why? Because nobody goes there to watch the games. People buy a $35 standing room only ticket and they go there to drink and party and have a great time not watching the field at all. And then they go hang out in the cool entertainment district that they have over there. Yeah. It makes me sick. But that is something. I mean, honestly, that is something that's, part of the problem there with the Rockies is, despite the fact that they do make decent money, they don't really spend it on the team. However, there's times where I kind of understand that. Like, why bother? Right? Why bother? They went out and they tried to sign Chris Bryant. That didn't go their way. They're at a point where they're ready to literally DFA him or move on from him at this point. It's crazy. But this is even they do better attendance wise than we do. So Nelson says Bud Black is listening. He's always listening. He knows everything. Let's take a look at that probable graphic one more time before we get out of here, because I wanted to see again, Erod, not great, not a great game, but not a terrible outing for him. Then you have Corbin Burnes and Zach Gallen going in the final 2 games of this. Like, when we were looking at the schedule ahead, I already wrote this series off as a win. And of course, this is what's happening. This is how things start. But like with Corbin Burnes and Zach Gallen on the mound going over the next 2 days, I don't know how you can't be confident in this team, winning both of these games, right? So we'll have to see which version of Corbin Burnes comes out, because it would be great to see the one that absolutely shoved elsewhere and during spring training, but has struggled so far this year. And again, Gallen's the same thing. Are we going to get Gallen? It's every other start. So this one, he should have 14 strikeouts in this one, right? Like he should be a stud in this one. However, it's not Colt here, so we don't know how he's gonna do. But do we have any more super chats there that I have not answered already there, Kevin?
We do not, Derek.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure I did not miss out on anybody. But yeah, I mean, again, looking ahead at the series with the Brewers, the Diamondbacks really have to figure out a way to get their offense kick-started. Hopefully a big part of that, Kevin, is just the off day, right? But it sucks, man. Baseball sucks for that exact reason, that you can just be on a tear and one single day turns into this.
Yeah. And honestly, you brought up the bobblehead night situation.
Yes.
And someone in the chat here, Zach, said that on the bobblehead night, he has to go 4 for 4, right?
With 2 home runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The vibes have to return. You have your 2 best pitchers hitting the bump and a bobblehead night hitting the streets.
My problem is that, again, how do you respond to bobblehead night? Do you come out and try too hard?
How do you respond to those massive expectations?
Yeah, that's huge. I'm surprised whenever anybody does well. And actually, a lot of times, like when it's a pitcher or something, usually their bobblehead night is not a night where they are actually performing. They're not playing the game, right? So takes things off a little bit. But
we also have Steven Banis here in the chat, Mr. Banana Man. Kind of going on the promo route, taking charge of the promo.
Yeah.
Wake and bake on 420 night and bring your snake to the park night. Thoughts on both of those, Derek?
Now, being someone that has an adopted snake son.
What?
Jesse Jr.
Oh, my bad.
What are you doing?
My bad.
You act like we don't have a
Well,
shirt
you said adopted.
with him on it.
You said adopted, and at this point,
He's adopted.
No, listen. The connection is so strong.
Derek Jr.
The connection is so strong that I forget. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's a blood relation. My bad.
No, I know. I mean, we really are tight. Not as tight as me and LG3, but we're pretty tight. But yeah, I mean, I don't want snakes at the ballpark. I don't want that. I'm very much in favor of the wake and bake night. But see, here's my problem is I'm working. So do I want there to be wake and bake night at the ballpark without being involved? It's like when people invite me to come hang out with them and they're all drinking and having a fun time, right? They see the look in my face. I very quickly decide that I need to go back to the press box. The reason why is because your fun time offends me. I'm sad. I'm heartbroken that I can't be participating in said fun night. So
FOMO.
I mean, at least I get a bobblehead on bobble night when I'm in the press box. I don't get to partake in Steven Banana's wake and bake night on 420.
What if they were giving out like pre-rolls? Like shout out to Colt Cannabis. You know what I mean? Some Colt Cannabis pre-rolls.
I am very good at getting a lot of freebies at events like that. Like Buds-a-Palooza was tonight. You and me were both very sad that we missed out on Buds-a-Palooza because we would have walked away with a metric ton of marijuana and it would have made our lives so much better.
I will say
improved.
Our beloved Damon dog Bark Bark did come back from Buds-a-Palooza looking like he had a grand time. I will say that. Looked like he had a fair amount of samples.
Oh man, it is. It's not bad. Steven said I could enjoy the secondhand high. And yeah, so maybe I don't know, but bees, I agree. It's cruel and unusual punishment. I often tell people who think my job is cool that sure, in theory, but if I told you that you had to go to a baseball game by yourself and not drink and then write me a 1,000-word essay afterwards based on what you saw, wouldn't be so fun anymore, would it? Yeah, that's what I thought. So appreciate all of you guys in the chat. We love you guys. Thank you guys for still sticking around with us despite this team losing 7-0 to the Brewers tonight. Make sure to hit that like button before you get out of here. It helps us out a bunch. More importantly, make sure to follow us on Twitter. I am at cap_caveman with a K. My guy Kevin is at KevoPost. Our show is at PHNX_Dbacks. But as always, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We will see you guys back here on Monday with another Mailbag Monday episode. And then, fun fact, next Thursday and Friday, I will be coming to you live from a pool in Las Vegas because that's where I will be.
For why?
For WrestleMania weekend. It's WrestleMania weekend next weekend. So we're going to have a great time out there. I will be coming to you remotely. Damon will be here in studio. And so will Kevin. I don't know why I needed to really emphasize.
I was about to say I'm always here behind the man.
It was unnecessary, but appreciate you guys so much. Appreciate you, Brandon. We thank you guys so much for stopping by. We'll see you on Monday. Make sure to send us your Mailbag Monday questions. We love to always answer those. And of course, in the meantime, what I want you to do is enjoy your weekend. Forget this game, but let's go out tomorrow, get some bobbleheads, and get a win, more importantly, tomorrow night. It's my daughter's birthday, too, so I just want to take a moment to say happy birthday to my wonderful 14-year-old daughter. You make me proud every single day of my life. And, we're going to go watch the Minecraft movie tomorrow, so I'm not really looking forward to that, but it's supposed to be good, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, we love you guys so much again. We'll see you on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend. Behave yourselves, and most importantly, remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when your team can make runs happen and put them on the board.
We all silly like the mayor.